Hi, happy Halloween. You may be wondering what this weird episode on your feed is all about. Well, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Mike Boudet. I'm the host and creator of a show called Sword and Scale. I'm here with a few friends.
My name's Jack Luna. I'm the host, creator, producer of Dark Topic, a true crime podcast.
My name's Tyler Bell, and I'm the host, writer, and producer of the West Side Fairy Tales.
You might be listening to this on either the Sword and Scale feed or the Dark Topic feed or maybe the West Side Fairy Tales feed. In either case, the three of us are here today to tell you about a project we're very excited about. A project we've been working on for well over a year.
I think people are going to feel a myriad of emotions. You will feel more in touch with the killers and the perpetrators of these crimes than you ever have in any other rendition through any other podcast.
This project is going to make you question whether or not it's safe to sleep in your bed at night. It's going to make you afraid to sit alone and listen to the last bits of the episode in the dark part of your driveway after you get home from work. This project is going to make you so afraid that you're basically just not going to be able to live your day-to-day life as normally as you did before.
We go deep, and this will scare the shit out of you. And it won't be just somebody getting their head bashed in with a hammer or somebody getting raped and murdered in a cabin in the woods. It'll be you sensing that this omnipresent danger is coming, and be prepared to feel sick and terrified.
So first of all, let me answer some basic questions. This thing we've been working on is a podcast. It's a standalone, brand new show. We're not going to tell you what it's called just yet, and you're going to have to wait a little while to listen to it. It'll launch on January 9th of next year. So 1919. We are, though, however, very excited to let each and every one of our fans know about this so that you can hear it as soon as it launches. On this episode, we're going to talk about how this project came to be, how we feel about it now that it's actually come to life, and we may have a few laughs along the way. All right, so how you doing, guys?
Good?
Good.
How about you, man?
I'm all right, fucking just got my head in the box in Atlanta.
Just a regular Thursday afternoon.
Just a regular Thursday. No, I guess I should explain that. I record now, and I basically travel and I go to different cities, and in order to record, I have to, I can't treat the room acoustically. So there's this box called an isovox that I stick my head inside of. So I don't treat the room, I treat my head acoustically. So it's like some kind of weird torture device, and I look like a complete idiot, but that's the only way to do it.
I've seen the box.
Are you standing up or sitting down in that thing?
I'm standing up.
Oh.
It's impossible to sit down. It doesn't go all the way down. But I stand in this thing with my head in a box. In Jacksonville, I was in Jacksonville. It gets really hot, and my hotel room was one of those crappy airport hotels that's by the side of the road.
Right.
And they just go up overnight. They're not very well built, not very good insulation, and the side of the room that I was in was facing the sun all day, and it had one of those crappy fans that just makes a lot of noise just constantly, and no matter how much you crank it, it only gets to like 78 degrees in that room, so it's hot all day. So I had to record some stuff, and I get into this box. I put my head in the box, and I start recording, and like 30 seconds into it, I'm just getting really pissed off and cursing at everything, and I'm like, I'm getting really pissy because I'm breathing my own carbon monoxide, and it's like 90 degrees in here.
Ugh.
So I end up like stripping down completely naked. So if you can imagine a grown man completely naked with his head in a box talking about murder shit alone in his hotel room, and that's when the housekeeper walks in.
Oh, God. I'm getting all hot and bothered just hearing about it, man. That's amazing. Are you slightly slouched? That's fucked up.
If it makes you feel any better, that's not even the weirdest thing she saw like that weekend.
I bet.
She just ran out yelling Diablo, Diablo. I don't know what that means, but
Awesome. This is already a scary friggin' episode, man, or I don't know what we're doing here. Just a scary call.
Jesus.
So I had been wanting to do something for a while. You see, Sword and Scale is a huge success. Over the last 5 years, we have almost 200 million downloads, a rabid fan base, an incredible amount of support on Patreon. In fact, we're one of the top 5 creators on the whole website. Sword and Scale has become a phenomenon with a TV show and book on the way. But you know what it's never done? It's never reached number 1 on iTunes. Not once. In fact, despite the fact that it's been hovering around in the 50s for well over 2 years, the highest it's ever reached is about number 12. So for a while now, I've been thinking of creating a brand new show, something that would push the envelope, something where we actively look for where the line is and then deliberately cross it. We want to make a show that people will not be able to help themselves from talking about, because it's the most extreme podcast you will ever hear. Here's Jack Luna talking about how this all started.
Well, I have a podcast called Dark Topic. Shout out, one of the many amateur podcasts that are doing true crime out there today. And I ended up getting a message from Marissa from the Vanished pod saying that she liked my podcast. And she said she was going to share it with Mike Boudet. And I was like, fuck, maybe that's not a good idea because I just trashed him on my most recent episode. I just finished talking about all kinds of shit about him.
Yeah.
And
Mike's so used to getting trashed that it's not even a blip on the radar for him. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll get that out of the way.
Right. Yeah, so next thing I know, Mike is messaging me. And he ends up giving me a call, and the first thing I say to him is like, "Hey man, I've been talking all kinds of shit about you. I got to let you know right off the bat, but I don't know you. And
I was like, color me surprised.
Yeah, yes, you were. Like everyone else, I'd heard only rumblings in the true crime community that you're a fucking asshole and all that shit, and I quickly found screaming at you that you're glorifying these killers. And I like to say we're not doing that. We're shaming them. Okay? There's nothing fucking cool about murdering women and children.
Right.
Like eating a man with his permission. That's okay in my books. But like, there's nothing cool about fucking killing women and children, and there's nothing glorious about that. If I was to be killed by one of these guys, or my children were, or my wife, personally, what I do with my own podcast is I really want to lay it out and respect the victim by telling exactly what happened and shaming that killer as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
It would be nice for them in the courts to be able to hear a story like the ones that we've laid out and get a real feel. It's one thing to say that a guy killed his whole family. It's another thing to take a walk with him down the hallway after he did so to his wife, and he's got a fucking rolling pin in his hand. I don't want to give up too much, but he's going to check on his children. That's getting deep on it, and that's getting down to the nitty-gritty of it, and that's what we're trying to do with this project. And I think it's important to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think the other thing about that is, let's face it, this is a form of entertainment. It's a genre of entertainment, which is very, very popular. But the reason it is, I think, and the reason it is not just based on what I think, but based on a lot of the people I've met at meetups and talked to over the last 5 years, is people genuinely are fascinated with the depths of depravity that human nature can take us to. In fact, I think what's most interesting about it is that we could sometimes see elements of these monsters in ourselves.
Yes.
And there's something separating us from them. We don't know what it is. We kind of want to know what it is. We kind of keep striving to figure that out. But you can't help but notice some of the similarities sometimes between the most awful people that have ever graced our planet and what's inside all of us, really, what the potential that's inside all of us to become that, which is, I think, what is the most interesting part of true crime stories like this. And the way that we did this one, the way that we get inside the heads of the characters, not just the victims, but also the monsters, is it's breathtaking because it feels so real. It feels so personal.
Yes.
That I think people are going to be very shocked.
Yeah, I mean, these stories are based on real events, but what we've done is, our best not to exaggerate what happened, rather grab hold of what is not known or what has not been told and tell the story in those spaces. It's amazing how the crime itself can at times be less horrifying than what led to it and what followed.
Yeah, very much.
Having a man sitting in his car thinking about doing it, and the stuff that Tyler Bell will write about a situation like that leading into it, that stuff's terrifying. Sitting at the dinner table with your family and he's going to fucking do something, but they don't know. All that stuff, man, is the reality of how it went down. And again, I'll go back to, you just hear in the news, a man killed his whole family. With this project, you're going to hear about what he possibly was thinking of before he did it, as he did it, and even go deep into his mind and pull some Stephen King shit like Tyler Bell did. It feels like The Shining, one of these particular episodes that I'm alluding to.
Yeah.
This stuff's scary, man. It is scary.
I love the dream sequences. They're the nightmare sequences, really.
Me too.
Because there's no warning. You just kind of slip into this sequence and you're like, what the fuck is going on? This doesn't sound like reality. And then all of a sudden you realize, this guy's dreaming this. He's just,
right.
This is what's in his head right now. And it's, those are really fascinating because they catch you off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think catch off guard is going to be the motto of this podcast. No one's prepared for this.
No.
What scares you, Jack?
Well, a lot of things. Becoming mentally ill is always my answer. Becoming severely mentally ill, like lock me up, melt the fucking key, mentally ill. Like, all the monsters in my subconscious or any of our subconsciouses, the things that cause us nightmares, those things bleeding into my reality and nobody believes me. Like coming out of my studio after recording some horrible shit and the hockey stick in the corner has a fucking face draped over the knob and it collects some yard equipment for legs and starts getting up and that happening in my mind to me and no one believing me and becoming a jabbering fucking guy in a institution where they're still haunting me.
So
that scares the shit out of me, man.
So your greatest fear is a hockey
How
stick.
Canadian is Jack that he's a...
You stepped on my joke there. You're
Jack?
great.
He's
afraid of a fucking hockey stick.
I'm sorry.
You stepped on my joke.
Hey, man. That hockey stick looks real some nights when I walk out of the fucking thing. I'll be rocking my baby
God.
in the morning. And in the corner of my eye, I'll see a woman sitting in the chair by the window. And I'll look over real quick and I'll realize, it's the drapes. But I mean, what if I was I became mentally ill and suddenly the woman was there? What I'm thinking it might be in my head becomes a reality. And there's like some old lady rocking her fucking son as well, but he's full grown, died in the war, his head's fucking chopped off or whatever happened to him. And I'm just sitting there going, oh shit, I can't tell anybody because they're going to take my baby away. That's scary, man. Or even if I can continue with my answer, this will be quick. Like even being in a coma, like you just said, like just not being in control, right? Like if I'm in a coma for 20 years and there's some sadistic doctor sticking needles in my penis and nobody knows about it, but I know, and he can see my brain waves shoot up when he does that. So he's like, yeah, I'm getting to him, and I'm stuck in this body that can't move. I can't tell anybody. That's terrifying to me as well.
I think now you're just describing that Metallica video from the late 80s.
Really?
One.
Maybe I am. Yeah. Maybe it's
Oh
a
my
fantasy, actually.
Oh, what am I afraid of? Everything. Jesus Christ. I don't know. I don't know if I've even told Jack this. I have PTSD. I'm a combat veteran, and I have nightmares almost every night. I actually have to get medicated for it. I have to take Prazosin.
Do you dream of hockey sticks?
I never dreamt of a hockey stick, but now fucking Jack put that in my head. A hockey stick's gonna knock me out, and I'm gonna be unconscious for like 3 months while a doctor sticks needles in my dick, and that's gonna be the end of it for me.
What about you, Mike?
I'm afraid of basically losing control of myself and letting all those demons come out and not being able to control them, and then waking up one day. Maybe this kind of goes with Tyler's thing, waking up one day behind bars because I committed some horrible act that I wasn't in control of at the time.
You just described your Twitter account, though, right?
Well, you know.
We got to bring it back to the Twitter account.
I love your Twitter account, man.
What do you think people are going to come away with from this show, from this experience?
Well, I think that they'll feel exhausted after listening to each episode. I don't know what positives can be taken away from it. It's mainly just going to be like a real eye blast or ear blasting experience for them, and they'll come away with hearing maybe stories that they thought they knew, but they had never heard it told in this way. And whether or not Tyler nailed it or I nailed it with my little, because we don't have a lot of the facts about these cases, like what they're actually thinking in their minds and stuff, right? A lot of these guys that we're dealing with, or women, are dead now, and we kind of had to do some guesswork there. But they'll come away with it a little more, I wouldn't say tentative around people in general. That's the thing for me with my podcast. It's stay paranoid, right? I'm trying to like tell people like there's monsters out there, and Mike does that as well. They'll come away with it with a new point of view as to, yes, they're monsters, but they are people. A lot of them have families, and they were able to hold two different worlds in their minds. And there's a lot of us out there that don't actually act on this shit, but some of us do. And these guys definitely, and these women definitely did. And it is terrifying that possibility of what these people did is really within all of us, because some of these people are very normal on the outside, but as you'll see, are completely abnormal by the end of their lives.
One of the things that I wanted to try to show people, kind of in the same vein of what Jack was talking about, is, yeah, these guys are human and not a lot separates them from people, but most of the reasons that they committed their crimes is because they're pathetic or gross, or they're broken in some sort of way that most people aren't. Like, generally people are pretty all right. And the difference between becoming someone, and these aren't people that are in this season, someone like Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy, to name the obvious ones, is those people are just they're really just weak. We fetishize them and we make them into be these grandiose monsters because they commit these horrible crimes, but at the end of the day, they are less than zero. They're not the super apex predators that we think they are.
Right.
They do horrible things, and they are disgusting, and you're going to be horrified when you get into this. But I don't want people to come out of this thinking that we fetishize these people and that we put them up on a pedestal like some serial killer podcasts do, where they're like, oh, this guy's so cool, he did this, and he killed 15 women. Oh, Richard Speck's a badass. Like, no, Richard Speck is a slob of a man with man breasts who had sex with other people in jail because that's the only way he could survive until the day he died. That's Speck.
That's great, and that goes back to what I said in the beginning. Is like we're not glorifying what they did. We're shaming them. I mean, there's nothing glorious about what these guys did. We're shaming them. When you kill a fucking 9-year-old girl, rape her, and we explain how that all went down, there's nothing glorious in that. And if you think there is, then maybe you're the one who's got the fucking issues.
Yeah.
For real.
All right, that's